very often they're going into a totally empty property. So what we do is we collect donated furniture, appliances and homewares, and we say, come to our warehouse and go shopping for no money. So they get everything they need for their home for free.
Welcome to Conversations with Faye. I'm Faye, your host, and my guest today has over 30 plus years of experience in marketing and advertising and has retired and now spends a lot of her time in Rotary and with an organisation called RIMERN. And she will explain that. It is where people who are in need of help, they may be homeless, they may come from domestic violence. They may have been in jail or been displaced from their homes. Let's welcome Susie Cole. Welcome, Susie.
Thank you, Faye. What a lovely introduction.
Don't you just love it?
Very welcoming. Thank you. It's so nice to be able to chat with you today.
Oh, yes. Look, I've been looking forward to this because I want to know more about the organisation, RIMERN.
Yes.
And what it does, when it started, how it happened, but a little bit of a backstory about where you come from first.
Sure. Well, as you said, advertising, marketing, but then when retirement called, I thought, I'm no good at tennis. I'm very bad at baking cakes. What will I do with my time? And I discovered Rotary as a way that I could meet people, I could be philanthropic, and I could also be creative. So RIMERN, as you say, stands for Rotary Inner Melbourne Emergency Relief Network, very long garbled name, but it's the third in the group because there was already an Eastern Emergency Relief Network out in Mitcham. There was already a Western Emergency Relief Network out in the western suburbs. And one of our Rotary Paran members said, oh, they do amazing work. Why isn't there one in Inner Melbourne? And we all went, oh yeah, why isn't there one in Inner Melbourne? So we looked into it. And so what we do is we are a community group of 22 Rotary clubs now. So it's a lot of people, a lot of people who want to help. It is really. But we just now work with welfare agencies and programs, people like Launch Housing, Sacred Heart Mission, Melbourne City Mission, right down to little ones. And when they refer their clients to us who, as you say, may have experienced long-term homelessness, domestic violence and all sorts of crises, when they're being helped into their new home, which at the moment is very tricky because there's not a lot of affordable rentals out there.
Yeah.
But when they are, very often they're going into a totally empty property. So what we do is we collect donated furniture, appliances and homewares, and we say, come to our warehouse and go shopping for no money. So they get everything they need for their home for free.
And isn't that absolutely fantastic? And particularly for those who have gone through such crises in their life. And there are so many of them out there that we don't even know about.
And with privacy, we don't know everyone's stories and we don't ask them, but sometimes they do share. And we've had clients that I've personally helped who've been squatting in a warehouse for 3 years. Or I actually took a television to a lady's home once because it wasn't ready to go with her order. And she was an African lady with 4 kids under 6. And until our furniture arrived, they'd been sleeping on mats on the floor. So they'd got their keys early and she'd moved in, but they didn't have a stitch of anything in the place with all these little kids. So everything that is in her home now came from very kind donations from our community, supporters, and also from people like hotels and serviced apartments and businesses that have got spare stuff.
That, it's been used up it's done its time in those places.
Exactly.
And they're changing, upgrading, so therefore isn't it a worthy place for something to go?
They love it.
Yeah.
They really love it that it's not going to landfill.
Oh, look, you drive around and you see all the furniture and all the rubbish that's on the sides of
It's a disgrace.
It is. And you look at it, a lot of it's in good condition, which could be utilised by somebody that doesn't have anything.
Exactly. Well, we are now working with some councils who are now having recycling events, and there's a lot of community groups popping up. One particularly that we work with, Darebin Hard Rubbish Rescue, or Hard Rubbish Heroes, I beg your pardon. They have got over 18,000 supporters on Facebook, and those people regularly post on our Facebook group and say, hey, would you like this sofa? Or I've got these bedside tables, or would you like this vacuum cleaner? And we say yes to some, we say no thank you to some. Like, for example, a lot of people who are managing estates or elderly parents, some of their things are either too big or too granny.
Yeah.
And we have to say no thank you, because the reality of these affordable rentals, so-called, is that they're tiny.
And they can only fit a certain amount of things in it.
So, but if we have contemporary style, smaller scale, we pounce on it. And we're doing 8 to 10 house lots a week.
Really?
It's a lot.
Wow, that's huge.
That's a lot of fridges, a lot of washing machines, a lot of microwaves. Some of the things we actually do buy, we put in for grant funding, and we buy things like, small kitchen appliances, because you never have enough kettles, jugs and toasters. Mm-hmm. But, you can buy them pretty reasonably at some of the major retailers. So, people sometimes do get new things in a box. It's not all secondhand.
Oh, that's fantastic.
But no, it is life-changing, Faye.
Yes. Well, I've never experienced homelessness or any of those things, so therefore I don't really understand what it's like to not have what you need or what you want. Mm. And those people, the homeless and the women and children, or even men who come from domestic violence, can walk out with just the clothes on their back.
Always. And
just for security and safety, they've just got to leave. And they have nothing.
Exactly.
Where do they go? To the shelters for a night or two? But
it's not enough.
It's not enough. And where do they go sleep in their cars if they're lucky enough to have a car?
Correct.
And where do they shower and go to the bathroom and look after their kids and send them to school? Those sorts of things. So they need homes. Welcome, Nicola. I'm Faye Waterman. This is Conversations with Faye, and I have Nicola with me today. Come stand closer to me today, who's going to share a little bit of her backstory and how she is doing what she's doing today, volunteering and supporting people who are homeless, and what that actually means. So, Nicola, what makes you do what you do?
It's a bit of a personal reason. I have a loved one who has been homeless for over 30 years, living in Sydney. And for me, working in the homelessness sector, I wanted to get an understanding of what that is.
Okay, so what does homelessness actually mean? Because there's different levels of homelessness, isn't there? There's the people that live on the street, they're the people that are couch surfing, they're the people that live in their cars, there are so many different levels of homelessness that we don't actually see.
Yes, absolutely.
So tell me, firstly, how did you get involved besides having a family member being homeless for 30 years in Sydney?
How did I get involved? It was curiosity, really. I'm fairly new to Australia, 2022. My family and I moved here. I was looking around for some work, and then I come across, for a housing case manager, and it piqued my curiosity, one, because of my personal reasons, and two, because I've got a background in mental health, and I just want to try to help people if I can.
Okay. And you support people. What was it like when you first started? Was it an emotional journey for you? Because I find it very emotional. So what is it? Does it, sometimes when you're having a conversation with someone, does it trigger something for you?
Yeah, definitely. There's many moments that I can sort of recall that having conversations with people in their situation, it just makes you cry. I think if you're going to work with people, you've got to have empathy. You've got to have, I think, a heart for it, really.
Yeah.
I've heard the saying that not everybody can do the same job, which is very true. I think when you're coming into the sector of the homelessness, very open heart, and then also listening's one of the key things. I think with people that have experienced homelessness, they've either been pushed aside or the systems are blocking them. So if you can just take that time to just sit down and listen to them, I think it makes all the difference as well.
Yeah, and you hit the nail on the head. It's the systems, it's the processes and procedures that need to happen for these people to be heard.
Yes.
And really listened to, and not have to repeat their story all the time, because that's a trigger in itself. So it's about sharing their story once and going to those places, those organisations that can support them but already know their story so they don't have to repeat it. And you're dealing with the root cause, and you're actually going in and you're looking at ways to help them there and then. Yeah. Not going backwards, because that's what I feel happens all the time with these people. They're continually repeating their story and not really getting the support at the root cause.
Yeah, agreed.
So how do you help them do that?
I think as a part of my role, it's really advocacy. I'm very strong on being an advocate.
Yeah.
So when people are dealing with different services in the community and the systems and everything, we can jump on board and do all the advocating for them. So I know that if they've had bad experiences, for instance with Centrelink,
Yes.
we can also speak on their behalf. So I think we kind of try to empower them, but also we try to do as much as we can initially, so that ideally we want people to live independently. That's the ideal, I think, for everybody, to live independently in the society. So that's part of my role as well.
And having that independence and being able to support yourself is a really big thing for anyone. You, me, and anyone out there. It's that independence. And is it a security, or independence is never really a security, is it, these days? But is it that we take it for granted?
We do. I think you're empowering people to believe in themselves.
Yes.
After they've been beaten down over and over again. And I think walking alongside a person who's experienced extreme trauma is one very privileged space to be. And yeah, just to see I think the changes for me as to why I work in this sector, seeing someone coming from homelessness and moving into their own property, it's, I don't know, I don't even know, like a flower or like a, just watching someone from very unsure, scared, coming in, it's very powerful for them. And that's ultimately.
But it's actually building that trust, isn't it?
It is.
It's actually building that trust for people to want to have a conversation with you, because a lot of the time, as you say, they've been beaten down so many times. Who do you trust? Who do you ask for help? And are they really going to help me?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's about building that trust and giving them the confidence to ask for help and say how they're actually feeling, not hide it. Yes. Because it's suppressed so much for such a long time that they need to be able to sit, share it. Tears?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
I don't know, it makes me emotional, because it's not right that there's so much homelessness out there. And there's so much more happening now, with divorcees left on the streets, sleeping in their cars, going to community centres to have showers to go to work. Nobody knows, they don't share their story, but they're living a hell.
Yeah.
And nobody asks them, nobody knows, nobody wants to know, do they?
Yeah, there's also a perception of shame, I think, for some people that are experiencing homelessness, potentially if someone's come from like having a good job, having a good life, and then bang, something happens, something dramatic happens, and they're living a life that they didn't think would ever happen to them. So I think there's that, definitely that sense of shame of where they are now. So I think when you were talking about respect is key when you're in, so included in that respect is definitely trust building. Yes. And I think one way that we try to do it is we always show up. So I think consistency is key, because I think a lot of the people that we've supported, they're being let down and people see they're going to do something and it never gets done. So for me, that's key. So over and over.
So many times. So who do you trust?
Exactly.
Where do you go?
Yeah.
Who do you ask? And why?
Yeah.
Why
is a big one?
why would I ask anybody? Because there's no one out there that's really, what you said in the first instance is listening.
Yeah.
They're not listening to me, where I've come from. And it doesn't matter where you come from. I always say that everyone has a good soul, given the opportunity. So when you volunteer for RIMERN, which is, and I'm not going to say what it stands for, but it's all about giving people who've been homeless, who have actually acquired a home, it could be a one-bedder, how exciting when you've not had one for a long time, that they can come here to this warehouse and actually furnish their home for free. How good is that?
Yes, absolutely.
You know, and there are so many people who work behind the scenes that nobody sees to support these organisations to bring this to those homeless people that get the opportunity.
Yeah, yeah.
And not a lot of them get that opportunity, do they?
No, that's right.
And how exciting is it when you come from being homeless to actually going to home, opening the door, and everything's there for you. Something you haven't had.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of people I support, it's kind of a surreal. It takes them a while to kind of gauge that they're actually in their own home, have their own furniture, you know, they're safe, they've got a roof over their head, because they've been living such a hard life for so long.
About all this, and it's becoming dearer to my heart all the time. But people who are homeless, that are living actually on the streets, sleep during the day because it's not safe to sleep at night.
Correct.
I didn't know that. And I always wondered why, you know, you'd walk past somebody and they'd be sleeping during the day. And I'm thinking, but it was pointed out to me and it makes so much sense. Because you've got to protect yourself, don't you? Because
Yes.
you never know what's around the corner.
Exactly.
Or who's coming to steal your stuff or hurt you or whatever it might be.
Yes, very true.
Yeah. So tell us more about some of the success stories that you've had.
Yeah, one of the ladies that recently moved into Melbourne, she had been living in transitional housing.
Now, what's transitional housing?
So that's like she was living in a boarding house just for women, which was really good, but it's not ideal.
How safe are they?
I don't know, as safe as they can be.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
but
kind of
still not safe.
not safe if you were in your home.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely not,
Yeah.
because you're living amongst a lot of different people that have experienced different types of trauma. So, and then, for me, for her, she's an amazing person, and I was very grateful to be able to walk alongside her for her journey. I remember when we come into RIMERN, the warehouse, and her eyes just lit up. You could see it in her face, how excited she was. And I think...
I mean, we just take a look around
It's
here,
amazing.
and there's furniture everywhere.
Yeah.
There's the bottom floor with all the bigger furniture. Then you have your cushion room, your kitchen room, your cutlery room. You have your chairs, your tables. You have everything here, which is amazing.
It is, it is.
Oh, it's really exciting to know that there are people out there that no longer need what they have, are donating it to a worthy cause.
100%, absolutely.
Yeah. So what was her journey like, and what she said now she lives in a home?
Yeah, so she was another one that the first night that she slept in the property, she rang me and said, I can't believe that I'm here. So I think that sort of getting used to this being your quote-unquote new normal can be quite a journey. And then when we had actually come up to the warehouse, and yeah, like I said, her face lit up when she saw the items that she could pick from, and she was very hesitant, and it was only through one of the volunteer ladies that was supporting her to show her through. She encouraged her to, you can choose whatever you like. You know, it was, I think she felt, oh, can I get that sort of thing? So I think...
Is it a worthiness thing? Is it feeling
potentially
that lack of worthiness?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
uncertainty as well. Like, is this, like, I think when I keep going on about is this real kind of thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that sort of sense, I suppose. But yeah, she got everything that she needed for her home. So yeah.
Oh,
It does. It
Gives you goosebumps, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
It makes you feel good inside that you know someone's off the street and they're in a safe place. They've got their own home.
Yes.
Do you come across homelessness, people who have children that they don't have with them? When they get a home, can they get them back?
Yes, that is ideal. So getting themselves established into a home, getting some sense of normalcy in their lives, I suppose, which would include having a home, doing your rent, paying that sort of normalcy. So getting used to that sort of life. And then the ideal is definitely to reunite the person with their children as well.
Yeah. And that would be very special as well. But you said something there, it's not just moving into a home and having it furnished and walking in and feeling safer than being on the street. It's actually getting used to the lifestyle bills, the electricity, the gas, the rent, the internet, all those things that they haven't had for such a long time now come back into their life. And they have to get used to all that beforehand. And that can be a transition, a big transition in itself, can't it?
Yes, it can, absolutely. And that's why I think for the role that I play, we stay on board with someone for up to 6 months to help them settle in and get that used to it that you were mentioning.
Yeah.
Because it can be quite foreign.
Oh, I personally can't understand it, but I'm working on understanding the ins and outs of how someone would feel and how important it is to have that support in the background, because they could easily go back to where they came from if they get scared or they don't feel worthy or they mix with the wrong crowd. So therefore, there's so many things that you have to think about to get them established into their home. It's firstly being there, feeling comfortable, doing all the lifestyle stuff, and then building a new community.
Yeah, it is. It is. There's a lot to it. I think in terms of, so if you think about someone coming from homelessness experience, mental health, there could be, medical diagnoses that weren't paid attention to because they were just surviving.
Yes.
So coming into a home and settling into the home, then they can start addressing all those things that they need to feel better about themselves.
Yeah. And when you say mental health, there's so many different streams of mental health that are caused by so many different things. How does someone know they have a mental health issue?
That's a very good question too. I think if you're living on the streets and then your behaviour is different to what people expect, so I've had a couple of people that have been reported because of the way they've been acting, and unbeknown to them, it could be drug induced, it could be a whole lot of things. Until they seek that help, they don't know what's happening for them.
It was really interesting. You just brought up something. I was walking the other morning, and there was someone down on the corner, and they were singing and doing all that sort of stuff. Probably someone with mental health issues. It wasn't just the average person. And I had a couple of little kids with me, and they said, "Why are they singing?" I said, "Because they're happy."
That's it. Yeah.
Because they're happy, and that was it. But it is interesting to see things and either take note of it or ignore it.
Yes.
And what does the average person do? They actually ignore those people on the street. Hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Instagram. Changing lives, one conversation at a time.